Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are all hale and hearty. Again, I'm here with you with a new topic, that is tech questions. Dear learners, let us see what is in my today's presentation. Today, I'm going to talk about tech questions, as I have already said. Let us make a discussion on the very topic, tech questions. So, what is tech? I think you are quite acquainted with the word tag. Okay, tag means to attach something, to tie something, to attach something to another thing. That is tag. Okay, so tag questions. So let us know the very definition of tag questions. Tag questions is especially tag question is a special kind construction in English. It is a statement followed by mini questions. The whole sentence is a tag question and the mini question at the end is called a question tag. Dear learners, very often, in order to know the opinion of the listener, the speaker adds a small questions at the end of some particular sentences like assertive sentence, imperative sentence, or exclamatory sentences. These types of these types of small questions are called tag questions. So, what is tag question? Tag question is a special construction in English. It's a construction. Okay, and in such constructions, a sentence is followed by a mini questions, that is a small question, and the whole sentence is called the whole sentence is called tag question, and the question at the end is called question tag. Okay, dear viewers, let us proceed. We use tag questions at the end of statements to ask for confirmation. I've already said this one, that confirmation, but to know the opinion of the listener. We use tag questions to know confirmation. Suppose I think something to be true, or I think something to be false, but I want to know the confirmation. Okay, I think something to be, but I want to know others' opinion, others' agreement, others' approval of the very thing I know, or I think, or I feel. So to know the confirmation, to know their approval of the listener, we add a mini question, a small question. So what is the purpose of that question? The purpose of that question is to know the listener's approval, the listener confirmation, or through that I want to be sure whether I'm right or wrong. I want to know, or I want to become sure that I'm right. Okay, so the mean something like, am I right? Am I right? Suppose it's very cold today. To me, it's very cold. Or I feel very cold today. But I want to know whether I'm right or wrong. And then I may add, isn't it? It's very cold today, isn't it? So I have put a question to my listener. And what is the reason? The reason is to get a confirmation. The reason is to get an approval. And if it is the same with the listener will say, yes, it's too cold. Or he will say, no, I don't think so. It's not too cold. I think there's a problem. Okay, so we add a question at the end of a statement to ask for confirmation, or to be sure whether I'm right or wrong. Okay, and making tag questions or making questions at the end of the statement to get the confirmation is very common in English. Okay, next, tag questions basic structure. That means how are tag questions formed. Okay, the basic structure: positive statement, negative tag. So how should we form tag questions? Okay, we will write the main sentence and then we will put a comma as it is. This one is the main sentence. It's a great day. This one is the statement. It's a great day, comma. Then this one is the tag question. It's a great day, isn't it? So, what is the basic structure of the tag question? It is, if the statement is positive, then the tag will be question tag will be negative, or it will take negative tag. And if the statement is negative, it will take affirmative tag. So if the statement is plus, the tag question will be minus, and if the statement is minus, the positive tag will be plus. Okay, dear students, this is one of the basic structure. If the main sentence or if the statement is positive, tag question will be negative, and if the statement is negative, tag question will be positive. Okay, dear students, I think you have understood. So let us move to the next slide. So the question, beautiful, isn't it? Actually, it's not the whole sentence, it's not the total sentence. Sometimes it may be an expression, but if you put it into a sentence, it will be, it is beautiful, isn't it? Okay, so through this question, I want to know the listener's confirmation, the listener's opinion, okay, or the listener's approval. Examples of positive statements, negative tag. As I have already said, so subject, she is cooking. You know, she is a subject, is cooking is the auxiliary verb, and cooking is the main verb. So how are tag questions formed? I have already said you will have to put a comma. Okay, so cooking is a comma, and then you will have to write down the affirmative or negative form of the be verb with the sentence. Affirmative or negative form, it will be the short form of the auxiliary verb used in the sentence. So here in this sentence, auxiliary verb is and the total sentence is affirmative. So its tag will be negative. So here that's the be verb is. Okay. So is, and as it is affirmative, it will take not. Okay. Is not, in short form it will be isn't. Okay, it will be isn't in short. Then isn't she? Dear students, remember, if the subject is a noun, you will have to write the pronoun. Here is the pronoun, so same as subject. But if it is Laila is cooking, then it will be isn't she. So dear learners, I repeat how are tag questions formed. Firstly, you will have to put a comma. Then you will have to write the affirmative or negative form of the be verb used in the sentence. It will be affirmative if the main sentence is negative, and it will be negative if the main sentence is affirmative, that is positive and negative. If the statement is positive, tag question will be negative, and if the statement is negative, tag question will be positive. You like ice cream, dear students? Here auxiliary verb is missing. and the main verb is like. In present indefinite tense or present simple and first simple, actually we will have to use do, does or did to make it negative or to make it interrogative. But in the same case here, in questions 2, as there is no auxiliary verb, we'll use operators do, does and did. If the main verb is in base form or non-S form, we will use do. If the if the main verb is in S form, we will use does, and if it is in first form, then it will be did. So here it is like, that means it is in base form, that is why do, and this one is positive, so do will be in negative short form. Do not, in short it will be don't. Okay, test students, I think you have understood. Next, they will stay home, so will not, in short it will be won't. Will not will be won't. He can place us, can not, can't. We should go home, should not, shouldn't. Jenny was busy, was not, wasn't. Your friends are not, aren't. You have finished, have not, haven't. Okay, next example with positive statements. You want to new work. Look, dear students, here the main verb is went, and I have already said it is in past simple or past indefinite tense, and that is why it will take did, and ever is positive, that question will be negative. Did not, didn't, and you is the pronoun, so it will be the same here. Didn't you? Okay, dear students, I think you have understood it well. And now we'll discuss examples with negative statements. I've already said, or I've said several times, that if the statement is negative, it will take positive tag, and if the statement is positive, it will take negative tag. Now we will discuss on negative statements. So it is, then isn't. Okay, it is snowing. It is not snowing, sorry, that means it isn't snowing, is it? You have never been there. Never is the negative part. You know, have you? She doesn't like pork, does she? They didn't practice today, did they? He can't come, can he? We shouldn't drink much, should we? They aren't home, are they? Jane wasn't sick, was she? So this is the case. These are the cases with negative statements, and that is why, as the statement is negative, it has taken positive tag. Okay, there are some special cases. That means you have already learned some rules, but sometimes you may face some special cases where you won't find any affinity with the rules you have already learned. Suppose I am right. I'm right. Here the statement is positive, and that is why it will take negative tag. Am not. Am not. You may think that it should be amn't, like other auxiliary verbs, but remember, it's not amn't. It's aren't. I'm right. Aren't I? It's aren't. You may write ain't in American English, okay? But here in British English, it's aren't. So I'm right. Aren't I? You have to go, don't you? Okay. Here have is the main verb, and that's why it's like you do have to go. Here that's the do, is the main verb and is in present indefinite tense or present simple, and so it is taken do. Don't you? You may write haven't you? Okay, it's also correct. I've been answering, and then now you may have been confused like should we form the tag with have or been. Okay, use the first auxiliary, that is have. Haven't I? Nothing came in the first. Nothing. Three statements with nothing, nobody, nothing, nobody, none, no one. These are the negative words. Negative words, and if you find these types of words, you will have to take it to be negative. So it is negative, that means it is not positive, so it is taken affirmative tag or positive tag. Let's go. Let's means let us. Let's means let us. Remember, dear students, it's an imperative sentence, and if the imperative sentence becomes let's or let us, definitely the tag question will be shall we. Shall we? Here is us, that means we. It will be shall we. Here, dear students, look, he, it may be had. In construction, it may be had or would. It may be had or would. Look, dear students, but here in this sentence, it is not. What is it? You will have to know. Had or would. Okay, and if this short form is followed by, if this short form is followed by verb 3, it will be had, and if it is followed by verb 1, it will be would. But here, dear students, in this sentence, it's a different thing, like he had better do it, had better, had rather, would rather, you had better do it. So it is had, definitely. Okay, you had better or he had better, have no auxiliary, so it will be hadn't he. Okay, you will see some more rules regarding this one: had better, had rather, would rather. Okay, so dear students, I'm right. So what will be tag? It's the question. I'm right. Is the positive, so it will take negative tag, and I've already said if it is am not, it will be aren't. Am not, it will be aren't. Okay, dear students. Mixed examples. Here you will get some mixed examples like, but you don't really love her. Here this sentence is negative, so tag will be affirmative, and here there is a verb do, and there is a is taken do. These will work will, and this one is positive, tag question will be negative. Will not, short form won't, and if it is this, its pronoun will be it. Well, I couldn't help it. Wouldn't. That means negative, it will be affirmative. Would I? But you will tell me if she calls. But you will tell me, you will tell me, you will tell me if she calls. Will, affirmative, it will be negative. Won't you? Would never have known. Never is a negative word. So here is negative, it will be affirmative. Would we? The weather's bad. The weather's bad. That means the weather is bad. The weather is bad. It's a short form here. It will be isn't it? You won't be late. You won't be late. Negative, affirmative. Will you? Nobody knows. Nobody. If the subject is nobody, everybody, somebody, no one, none, then the pronoun will be they. Okay, and that is why, in spite of the fact that it is taken as the verb has taken as, it won't take they, because subject has changed, and this verb will be followed by the newly made subject or newly made pronoun of the tag question. Okay, so dear students, here you will have to be a bit careful writing the pronouns. Intonations, we can change the meaning of tag questions to the musical pitch of our voice. Intonation, sometimes our voice rises and sometimes our voice falls, okay, or decreases. So with rising intonation, it sounds like a real question, but if our intonation falls, it sounds more like a statement that doesn't require a real answer. Okay, sometimes while making questions, our voice rises and then it is a real question, but when our voice falls, it is not a real question. You don't know what my word is, do you? Do you? So my voice is rising. It's a real question, and then you tell, yeah, I know, or yeah, I don't know. It's a beautiful view. It's a beautiful view, isn't it? It's falling. It's not a real question. Okay, just I want to express myself. Dear students, now we'll talk about tag questions with imperative sentences. Okay, imperative sentences are orders, advice, commands, requests, invitations, etc. Okay, but the sentence remains an imperative and does not require a direct answer. Sometimes we use question tag with imperative sentences, but the sentence remains an imperative and doesn't require a direct answer. So we use owned for invitations. If the imperative sentences expresses invitations, then we use owned. We can use can, can't, will, would for orders. If it is order, we can use can, can't, will, would. I can make it easier to you like this. If the imperative sentences starts with main verb, like do the work, you may write will you. If the sentence starts with do not or don't, you may write will you. If the sentence starts with always or never, you may write will you. If the sentence starts with let plus another object like me, him, then you will write will you. But remember, if the sentence starts with let us, then the tag question will be shall we. So only for let us you will have to write shall we. So dear students, you will have to know the variations. You will have to know the exceptions, as I have said about would. Okay, if it is in short form, it may be would, it may be had, but you will have to find out the weird one. So if it is followed by the third form of the verb, it will be had. But if it is followed by verb 1, then it will be would. But sometimes it may be had better. Then we will write had, as I have already said. This was it was a little digression. Now let us back to our topics again. It is imperative sentence. If the imperative sentences express invitation, then it will be won't you. You may write it will you. It will be a problem. Like take a seat. So it's a polite request. Take a seat. Won't you? Help me. Can you? Quite friendly. Help me. Can't you? Quite friendly. Some irritation. Suppose I'm expecting help, but you are not giving me the help. So I have got irritated. Help me. Can't you? Close the door. Will you? You may write will you? Do it now. Will you? So if you say would you, it will be quite polite. It's a polite request. Do it now. Will you? Do it now. Will you? Is less polite. Don't forget. Will you? With negative imperatives, only will is possible. So in a word, I've made it easier like this. You may write in all cases will only when it is let us or less. You should write less. Dear students, I have already come to the very end of my today's class. I think and I believe I am able to make it clear to you and you have understood it well. So it's all for today. Thank you very much.